Like, I don't know how they can get away with that.
See that okay?
Yes, looks good, Aaron. Thanks.
Yep.
Good evening and welcome to the Allegheny Clarion Valley School Board Workshop Meeting for June 8th, 2023. The AC Valley workshops are conducted virtually, and the link to access the workshop is always posted at the acvsd.org website. During this workshop, I will provide the school board members with information that will help clarify agenda items. And please remember that workshops are open for discussion, so jump in at any time. As a friendly reminder, please keep your mic turned off until you're ready to speak. And at this time, I'll have Madam Secretary conduct the roll call.
Patty Anderson.
Here.
Carrie Armagost.
Here.
Megan Dreher. Brady Fight. Diane Page.
Here.
Jeff Powell. Jameen Stump.
Here.
Eric Sunling. Kelly Terwilliger.
Here.
Thank you, Tammy. We do not have any public participation or presentations this evening. And at this time, I'll open it up to see if there's any board concerns that need to be addressed at this time. Moving down through the consent agenda, I will start off with letter A. We have one conference in front of you this evening, and that's from our business manager, Andrea Stewart. She will be attending the PASBO Steel Eagle Leadership Institute, paid for through PASBO. You can see she's been the newly elected secretary and treasurer, the Clarion County chapter. And this leadership conference is going to provide her with more information to enhance her leadership skills and in the new position, as well as her role through PASBO. So we do recommend that we approve Andrea going into that institute and taking on a new role. Could go back up, Aaron. Thank you. We do not have any substitutes in front of you this evening. And letter C and D are two part-time employees who are asking for days of unpaid leave. Letter E is a request from Caden Rainey be a volunteer coach for the varsity football team for the 23-24 season. And then letter F, this came in from Jim Marin and the Foxburg Chamber of Commerce to utilize the AC Valley School parking lots for overflow parking during the annual Foxburg Festival. And that will be on Sunday, October 15th. And just keep in mind that we provided the parking lots up here for a good number of years to help support the program. And they have buses running and works out very well for Foxburg and the Chamber. Moving down to finance and purchase, we have a number of items in front of you this evening, and both Andrea and I will be sharing some of the duties. And we're going to start off with letter I. We have a discussion related to the 23-24 school budget of $17,191,702. And at this time, Andrea, would you like to add anything?
I'm sorry, but I would like to add that that amount has changed. I pulled all final numbers together, went through the budget item by item, and the total expenditures will be $17,185,957. Our total revenue will be $15,612,885. So we are looking at a total deficit of $1,573,73. And there shouldn't be any changes in that budget from now until our voting meeting. And I will get a copy of the PDE budget out to everybody in email on Monday.
Thank you, Andrea. That's actually good news that our expenditures came down
A little
bit.
lower.
And we do appreciate all the work that you put into that budget and the continued efforts. And just keep in mind that it's been on public display for a month. And next Thursday, we will be formally approving that budget and submitting it into the Pennsylvania Department of Education prior to June 30th, which is the mandated date. On page 2, we have a number of accounts in front of you for approval, as well as ongoing discussion. Just keep in mind the Pliget account, that's the Pennsylvania Local Government Investment Trust, and all other accounts are with Farmers National Bank. And if there's any kind of questions or concerns about that, please jump in at any time.
David, could I add something to that?
Sure.
I'm sorry, number 7, we no longer have a capital projects account, so we'll be removing that off of this.
Perfect, thank you. And then as we move down through finance and purchase, letter K is the 23-24 fringe benefits cost. And Tammy was able to pull information from the Highmark Blue Cross Blue Shield. And we also have in this information last year's numbers. So it's broken down by individual, parent and children, husband and wife, and family. And as you can see, a total for the medical and prescription drug for an individual last year was just over $744 per month. It rose to just over $763. Similar increase with parent and child. It went from $1,850 a month to $1,895. Husband and wife, $2,075 last year, $2,126 for 23-24, and then a family went from the $2,182 to $2,237, and that's very similar throughout all groups. You can see the administrative active and inactive was just slightly higher, but on page 3, you also see those numbers are the same for the professional staff. As well as the teachers, and that's both active and inactive teachers. Vision insurance, as you can see, we have the information down there from the 22-23 school year, as well as the up and coming 23-24, and everything stayed the same, and that's for a single as well as a family. And disability, And you can see Tammy noted there's no change as far as renewal on February 1st, 2025. Faculty 1058 and administrators to meet and discuss 1150. On the top of page 4, we have dental insurance, and for whatever reason, we'll take it, but it went down from 2223, singles 2590, employee and child's 53 or 5438, employee and spouse is 5180, and a family per month is 7768. And then we also have the COBRA information there as well for your information. Life insurance, and similar to the others, it remained the same for the professional group, administration, non-professional, and superintendent. And just keep in mind, we made note that the non-professional could buy into the amount of 50,000 with an increased cost, a minimal cost, but they can go from 30,000 for life insurance up to 50 if they choose to do so. Before we move down through the agenda, get into federal programs, are there any questions or concerns about the fringe benefits that are in front of you this evening? Okay, moving into letter L, we have a discussion to make the federal programs and grants part of the 23-24 budget, and Andrea is going to take a little bit of time to review exactly what that looks like.
I'm just going to go over the federal grants that we are projecting to receive in the 23-24 year and the amounts. So we're projecting to get the PCCD grant, $173,434. The Ready to Learn block grant that's used for kindergarten, $151,489. Title I, $192,706. Title II, $21,227. Title IV, $15,357. And then we're projected to spend out the rest of the ESSER funds, and that's projected to be about $450,400. And that's all of our federal programs.
Thank you, Andrea. Just keep in mind too that we'd like to compliment Andrea Stewart and Carrie Longo, our federal programs coordinator, and the work that they put into the ARP ESSER monitoring that we went through. We've spent the entire week working with the monitors, and the information and data that they've collected, uploaded, and presented was substantial. And we got through the monitoring, and it's just to prepare us for the audit, the federal programs audit down the road. And we have a couple areas to clean up, but absolutely everything was fantastic. The documentation and the ongoing communication, just like any other monitoring, we learned a lot throughout it. So kudos to those two for the work that they put into this week. Moving down through finance and purchase, we have the school solicitor, Zach Shekels, information in front of you. When using the solicitor, it's $100 per hour and $30 per hour for the legal assistant, and that remains the same from last school year. We also use Mark Chuhar for labor and employment legal issues, and his cost is $230 per hour, $190 for an associate, and $140 for paralegal. His went up slightly, just about 2% throughout. And then we also use Knox Law for specialized legal services. And they have a whole host of services, but generally we use the general solicitor services and the special education services. And that went up about $15 per hour for both of them. They also have other associate fees in there, but we have not worked with them in those areas as well. So that's just a yearly update, part of the budget, as well as full transparency. On the top of page 5, we also have in front of you a resolution that I've been talking about for a while and been working with our partners from PASBO, and that's to hopefully get some changes in Harrisburg. And this resolution went out to 88 school districts in Pennsylvania who are in more than one county. Keep in mind, AC Valley is the only one in 4 counties. So the school code section 672.1 requires multi-county school districts annually to rebalance real estate tax millage rates applicable in each county for the purpose of uniformity in taxation. Section 672.1 is currently interpreted and applied too often fails to achieve uniformity, and in too many cases has the opposite effect and results in this significant negative effects for multi-county school districts and for many taxpayers that see different and dynamic tax rates changes within their district borders. Section 672, as currently interpreted and applied, conflicts with the later enacted Tax Relief Act 1 program. And just keep in mind, each year we can only increase our taxes to a certain degree, but when you're in more than one county, the rebalancing efforts generally for us increase slightly for 2 counties and decreases for 2. So this resolution, with your support, will get approved, sent into Harrisburg, and we'll continue to have that discussion. PASBO, as well as myself personally, we feel as if we increase taxes, then it'll be the same amount across all 4 counties. And I feel as if it's more fair for the taxpayers, and then could also increase the taxes and the federal revenue that the local revenue that we're able to pull in. And just keep in mind that PASBO did share with us information associated with our taxes compared to the increase in cyber charter costs. And those costs have outpaced our taxation by 153%. So I strongly recommend that we do approve that next week, and we'll get it sent into PASBO. And then finally, letter Q, under finance and purchase, we do have a new yearbook proposal in front of you from Identity Studios and Design. It's going to be the same cost. It's $12 per softback. And we're done with the Belfour pricing. We've had several issues associated with the supports or maybe lack thereof from Belfour. And then also we'll be able to get a little bit more local business in the area. So again, we as the administration strongly recommends that approval. Are there any questions or follow-up needed for finance and purchase?
David, can I clarify that yearbook is the elementary yearbook, correct?
Yes, Kelly, that's correct. I'm sorry, I should have stated that earlier.
Thank you.
Thank you. I appreciate that. And then moving down through personnel, the school boards met with the Act 93 group, who consists of the principals and school psychologists, and we're working through clarifying language. We're hoping to have that in front of you on Thursday to approve, and we're optimistic that that contract will be completed and ready for approval. Letter B is a letter of resignation from Melinda Farrington as a student council advisor. And then letter C would be to post that opening in-house. Letter D is a letter of resignation from Megan Bashline, who served as a junior high student council advisor. And again, letter E would be posting that vacancy in-house. And we got a lot of movement with the athletic programs. At this time, Coach Brad Dittman, he's due to his work schedule, he resigned as co-head boys basketball coach, and Chris McNanny was hoping to stay on, but again, life and work and being busy, he's not sure if he can commit the amount of time needed into that basketball program. So they both resigned. Chris did leave the caveat with Dr. Jordan and myself and said if we can't find anybody, he'd be willing to help us out in a pinch. But we're optimistic that we can advertise and fill that vacancy. That would be letter H. And then once we get a head coach in place, and we'll go ahead and fill the assistant basketball coach position as well. And then letter I, that's a letter of resignation from Dan Reed, who was our assistant varsity football coach, and now he's becoming the co-op head football coach. He'll be hired through Union School District. So we're going to accept his letter of resignation, and Union will be picking up the additional assistant varsity football coach. And letter J is a motion to hire Logan Pistorius. He's a assistant golf coach, teacher over at Union, and that'll be at our contractual rate of $640. And just keep in mind that the joint athletic hiring committees met several times, and the ultimate goal is going to be for the host school district to hire all the coaches, and the cooperating school district will pay half of the cost of everything. So we met with the superintendents, ADs, and business managers this week, and we started breaking down all the costs associated with that. So we're working very closely and collaboratively with union to equalize the cost for the athletic programs. Moving down through letter K, we do have a opening for long-term elementary substitute for the beginning of the 23-24 school year. We had 6 applicants. 2 were guest teachers who weren't properly certified. We had 4 certified teachers, 3 elementary ed, 1 special ed. We called for interviews. 2 accepted the interviews because the other 2 got hired elsewhere. We interviewed, we will be making a recommendation to hire Maggie Brown. She's a local gal from Knox and did a fantastic job during the interviews. And we're hoping to, get her on board and potentially retain her. She has a lot of potential and would be a great staff member. And then letter L, we're very excited to have a letter of interest from Emily Shoemaker, and we're making a recommendation to hire her to replace the wonderful Sandy Best as she moves on into retirement. So that'll be a 220-day junior senior high school secretary position. As you know, Emily is working right now as a district-wide secretary, and we're beginning the transition right now. So she'll be formally hired on next Thursday. She'll start June 16th. And her salary will be prorated for the 22-23 school year. And then beginning July 1st, just keep in mind our year goes from July 1st to June 30th. She will be at the $28,474 for the contracted salary rate. So I do welcome Emily into the new position. And then with that being said, letter M will be to advertise and replace her part-time district-wide secretary position. And currently, she serves about 4 hours per day on a normal day. I know I covered a lot of material. I'll take a pause and answer any kind of questions or comments about personnel.
I have a question about the assistant golf coach. I assume he would be helping with both the girls' golf team and the boys' golf team as well.
Diane, I'm going to have to defer to Bill Jordan. I know he's on the phone or on the call right now too, and he can talk a little bit more about how they have those assistants working.
Yes, Diane, that would be correct. He would be assisting both the boys and the girl programs.
Thank you.
Thanks, Bill. Okay, hearing no other questions, we'll move our way down through page 6, instructional services. Michelle Austin will be in. She'll provide a end-of-year update on enrollment, class size, and such for the 22-23 school year. And then we're also very proud and happy to presenting the graduating class of 2023 to you for formal approval. We did have our graduation. It was outside. It was a beautiful evening. The kids did great. I think everybody who attended had a really good time. So kudos to those kids. Great group of kids. They worked very hard the whole way up through, and we all expect great things to happen with them. Moving down through policy, we do have a number of second readings associated with home education, and then we do have a couple updated as well as new policies. So we're looking for formal approval on the home education programs, policy 137, 137.1, 137.2, and 137.3. And I have drafted up a letter, made copies of all those policies, and have them ready to be distributed to our homeschool families whenever they drop off their portfolios. So we have all these secretaries in the district ready to hand that information out. And basically, we're inviting them back into the curricular programs or extracurricular as well as the career center, if they choose to, even on a part-time basis, would be permissible through these policies. And then letter E is a update of a current policy, policy 800 records management. And these all came from the monitoring that I had referred to earlier and recommended through PSBA that we update it. So just, I'm not going to read the entire policy, but policy 800, that's to ensure that we have a records management plan here in the district. Those records consist of permanent records of the district, board minutes, annual audit reports, annual financial reports, financial accounting books, orders, bills, contracts, and insert invoice receipts for purchase orders. And we're required to keep them on campus for at least 6 years. Generally, educators don't like to throw things out, so we have them. That's probably, we need to put some work into it and clean out some of our office space as well as our safe. So the timing of this is spot on. And then throughout this policy, it goes through definitions, and they've added electronic emails, litigation, hold records, records management plan, and so on and so forth. Just keep in mind that I designated myself as the coordinator of this program, and I'll be working closely with a number of staff members here on campus, and that'll be with the board secretary, the district solicitor, business manager, maintenance director, and technology technicians. And we'll sit down once approved. We'll review the policy and take a look at what we have and dive into our records and see what needs to be purged. And we'll be working on the operations, the care and handling of the equipment and software, developing a records retention schedule, developing protocols for preserving and categorizing district records, and then obviously the disposal of records. And we're going to meet this summer, but since the requirement is to keep it for 6 years, we're going to meet at least every 3 years to review and to purge some of those records. We will be working on updating the records management plan that we've worked on infrequently over the years. And the one piece that they outlined and is new to this policy and not in the old is litigation hold. So theoretically, if we were to be, in a due process lawsuit, this is the obligation to not eliminate or delete any kind of records. So any kind of emails, any kind of storage, it's really important that we maintain those as such. And that's part of the records management plan and some of the responsibilities of me as far as spearheading that group. Electronic records, they're the same thing as anything else. We'll have to maintain them. They're on our email system. They include messages and attachments and shall be retained and disposed of according to the district management plan. So that's policy 800 in a nutshell. And then moving down to policy 830, which will be new. And as we're all concerned about getting hacked and breach of our firewalls, this is a timely policy as well. So policy 830 is security of computerized personnel, information, and breach notification. The board is committed to the security of the district's computerized data and to address the risk of a breach of the district's systems involving the possible disclosure of personal information. The board requires that records containing personal information be securely maintained, stored, and managed in compliance with federal laws and state laws. And this is a policy that we'll be discussing with the technology committee. And I've had several discussions with our technology technicians. I've attended workshops this year through Knox Law as far as our security of the information that we have. And Jeff and Aaron does a great job by keeping a lot of our personal data in the cloud. So not only do we have it backed up here and can retrieve it when or if needed, but it's much more difficult for the hacker to come in and steal our information. And then finally, in this policy, under guidelines, if we ever were to be hacked or anybody's confidential information was breached, then it's our responsibility to contact the district attorney in the county where the breach occurred, work with the Commonwealth, and get the insurance involved as soon as possible. In addition to that, it's part of our responsibility to notify, that employee or employees if their information was hacked. And then finally, we have policy 830.1, data governance, storage, and security. And again, this goes hand in hand with the other two policies. The district is required to collect, create, store, and manage data and information accurately. Maintaining and protecting such data is essential for efficient district operation, legal compliance, confidentiality, and upholding the trust within the school community. This policy addresses the board's commitment to sound data governance related to the integrity and security of the data collected, maintained, stored, and managed. This policy goes hand in hand with records management, and the district's data governance plan should include data security controls, plan for backup and recovery of data, training requirements, provisions to minimize the risk of unauthorized access, inventory of all software applications, and to proceed accordingly if the data was breached. A piece of this refers to personal electronic devices. So part of our policy 830.1 prohibits storage of confidential and or critical data information from the district on a personal electronic device. So that's something that we'll have to continue to work with our employees. And I don't feel as if anybody uses their own personal device, but that's a policy that I will be reviewing with the staff at the beginning of in-service day. So again, not only is it good practice, but also a recommendation from the most recent monitoring to update those policies. Are there any questions from the school board associated with policy before we move on? Under facilities, we do have a formal motion to rename our junior senior high school gymnasium the Ron Botts Gymnasium. This has been discussed with the athletic committee. We're making a full recommendation. We'll be working with the school board and then local stakeholders. And we've been having a lot of discussion as far as what that looks like and how to get that rolled out. So more to come on the new name of the gymnasium. Under transportation, we have Kelly Stavanis. She's asking to remove Barbara Check as a driver. And then down under correspondence, before we finish off and go into executive session, we do have a letter from Clayton Carroll, and this is on our audit. The Pennsylvania Department of Education has reviewed the single audit report of the Allegheny Clarion Valley School District for the year ending in June 30th, 2022. Accordingly, the department is pleased to inform you that with respect to the federal financial assistance program funded by this agency, your single audit report for the fiscal year 2022 is approved as being substantially in compliance with Section 2C FR Part 200 subsection F and other relevant federal and Commonwealth policies. So again, kudos to Andrea for doing a great job with that and support of the school board moving forward. And at this time, that concludes my section of the workshop. Are there any kind of questions or comments before we break? And I do want to make note that I will be meeting with the school board in an executive session to review the requirements of the Act 44 School Safety Annual Report.
David, I was just going to clarify about the gym that I let the board know that I talked with Paula Wetzel, Ron's daughter. And it looks like August is going to be the best time frame to do the naming of the gym, whether we're going to do a presentation at a board meeting or however we decide to do that.
Thank you, Kelly. We appreciate your support on that. And at this time, I'll go ahead and conclude just to remind everybody that next Thursday at 6 o'clock, we will be meeting face-to-face in the elementary cafetorium. And we'll be logging off of this Zoom and jumping on the personal Zoom link that I sent to your calendar and also your email. So I'll see everybody